So, Laura, how are you today?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good as well. Thank you so much. So, what better way to start an epic evening with someone as bad as you, right?
I'm very touched. Thank you.
There you go. So welcome to the show. It is so cool to have you here. So, before we start, I have to give you a proper intro. If you have seen some of my episodes before, you know exactly what I'm about to do. If not, let me show you then. So,
Suspense. Oh my goodness! What a crowd! What a crowd!
Right.
Wow, I'm overwhelmed. I can see the flood of people. Wow.
There you go. Yeah, we're still working on that. I mean, we're still small operation going, but who knows? At some point we might have live audience. So.
I loved it. Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you for the warm welcome.
There you go. So tell me how your acting career started.
How did my acting career start? Well, it all began, I'm from Chicago, and I went to go see a production of The Wiz, the musical, with my family when I think I was only like three years old. And apparently as the lore goes, at intermission, I tugged my mom's sleeve and was like, I want to do that. And okay. I just knew. And so I started, putting on plays at home, started basically a little theater company with my sister, and we put on shows with our Barbies, and I would act, dance sing whenever I had the chance, always hogging the cameras. And then I went to this little summer camp in my hometown that was, it was connected to a theater, like a professional equity theater. And so it was part of the Park District camp. Okay. And we put on a little show, and it was just a bunch of kids doing a show. And then one day, the artistic director of that professional theater came to watch rehearsal, and I guess picked me out of the group and asked me to come to her office. So I went to her office, and she said, I see you got talent, kid, and we're doing a professional production of The Secret Garden. I was 10 years old. Yeah. And she said, I think you would be perfect for the part of Mary. Okay. So I auditioned and I got the part, and that was my first paid professional acting gig when I was 10 years old. And I was totally hooked, and I just loved the experience. And so my parents, my parents are not in the biz. They didn't really know anything about acting or anything like that. Yeah. But, I told them I really wanted to keep doing this. I really enjoyed it. So an agent came to see the show and thought I was talented, so took me on. And then from there, I started getting auditions, and I got to audition for this musical called Ragtime, which was on Broadway, and they were on a first national tour through the country, and they did a long sit down in Chicago, and they were looking for a little girl to play the main little girl. So I auditioned and got the part, and that's how I got my equity card, and I did this show for almost 2 years in Chicago. Okay. Yeah, it was a really cool experience. So that was my first real big gig. And then from there, I just never stopped, to be honest. I've always been in the biz. Like I say, I was born in the dressing room, raised in the wings. So definitely started in the theater, and then transitioned into TV and film when I moved to Los Angeles.
That is amazing. So you are the co-creator and star of the acclaimed new musical Emoji Land, which opened on January 2020 off-Broadway at the Duke on 42nd Street. Tell me about that experience, and also about the whole process to create it.
Wow. Well, it still continues to be quite the journey. Yeah. We just announced we're going to be doing another production of it coming up very soon. So yeah, I can't announce exact details of it yet, but it's coming back. So COVID didn't win. Forever, we'll be back.
Yeah.
But we basically, my co-creator and I started writing and coming up with this. It took about 6 years, and we rewrote the story so many times. We did 8 page one rewrites because, we had this idea to create a musical based on emojis, but emojis they have no inherent narrative, and so it's just they're characters in our phones. And so we came up with all sorts of different stories, and some of the stories made no sense, and they were really inane. And we put up a couple versions of it in LA, at like this concert place, Rockwell, which is no more, and we learned a lot along the way. We learned how to write a musical, because we both had never written a musical before, but we had worked on and acted in and music directed and had choreographed a lot of musicals. Mm-hmm. So we knew a lot about musicals, but we had never actually set out to write one. And it turns out it's very hard. Very hard to write a musical.
Yeah, I bet.
It's not an easy process. So anyway, so the writing process was really intense, and then when we finally got the opportunity to perform it in New York at the New York Musical Festival in 2018, that was the moment that we really got to like kind of make our mark, and the New York Times came and gave it a good review. So that really put us on the map and got us connected with some great producers. Who then and then basically we did that production in 2018, and then a year went by where we were sort of like, we were talking to a bunch of different Broadway producers and nothing was really like materializing. And then we found out in, that was like basically September or October of 2019. And we found out from these producers that we had met that there was an opening at the Duke on 42nd Street in 3 months because the show had canceled. So winter 2020 was going to be our shot if we wanted to open off-Broadway. And that was in 3 months. And we were like, oh my gosh, can we do this in 3 months? And we were like, you know what? Let's do it. So we did. And and I did star in that production, and we had got an incredible cast, and it was kind of a dream come true. And we got a great review in the New York Times, again, and it was just, it was really an amazing experience, and kind of felt like this birthing of this child that we had been nurturing for many years. And then COVID hit, and that was it. But now we're coming back.
That is amazing, and I think that like the whole thing, right? Whenever you get the chance to see how your creation is live, basically, you know what I mean? I think that feeling is kind of breathtaking at the same time.
It is, yeah. No, it is. I mean, I live for that feeling.
Yeah, that is so cool. Wow. Now you were also with the music team for the animated feature Ugly Dolls, and co-wrote the Kelly Clarkson Janelle Monáe duet Unbreakable, which was shortlisted for the 2020 Academy Awards. So tell me about that whole experience, and what was your reaction when you saw that something that you were that something that you were working on was nominated?
Yeah, well, we weren't actually nominated for an Academy Award, but we were on the list of songs.
Yeah, no, but I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing experience, and the feeling, I actually remember being in rehearsals for Emoji Land off-Broadway when we found out that we made a list, and I remember I was just like in the hallway of this rehearsal hall, and I was like, wow, this is it really is surreal. And I mean, that song, it's like a song that we had written very quickly, because the studio, basically there was another song that was going to go into the movie, and the studio was like, and it was a song by a very like renowned songwriter, and they were like, you have 24 hours essentially to like show us another song and get your song in the movie. And so we wrote that song really quickly, and and I remember that it was a really kind of magical moment of thinking about what should this song be, and it came very organically with the whole music team, and we all like worked together really well and came up with something really special. So yeah, I'm really proud of Unbreakable. I'm really proud of that song, and I'm proud to have been a part of that team.
Look, that is super cool. Now you're also, you're basically doing everything. I mean, you're killing it.
Wow, thank you. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Now you were also an accomplished dancer. Your dance and choreography has been featured in many features, in many films, live shows, and even a music video for The Killers. So tell me, back when you were dancing and everything, what did you like the most, and how was usually the process for you in order to create a choreography?
Well, I would say that I started dancing before I started doing anything else. Mm-hmm. I was in ballet class, and since I was 2 years old, and always just, I don't know, dancing comes so naturally to me, and it's like it's what I do when I am in a funk or something. Like I know that I have to move my body.
Yeah.
And so dancing is like, it's just always been something very natural to me. And I guess I started because when I was in Chicago, I was dancing more like focused in I was in like ballet companies and like really trying to pursue this like dance career. And then honestly, very quickly was like, this is not, that wasn't my world. I wasn't going to be a ballerina. And, so I quickly like pivoted from focusing on only dance.
Yeah.
And then honestly, like finding musical theater was really like the perfect blending for me, because I love to act and I love to sing and I love to dance. And so like that's musicals, it's perfect. So it felt like a very natural transition from being a dancer to being a musical theater performer. So, and then the choreography, I started choreographing in college, mainly because I was dancing in a lot of productions in college. And then, if you're a dancer in musicals, oftentimes then people are like, hey, you want to choreograph this? And so I did, and I choreographed a production of Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I had so much fun. That was just like such a blast. So then, people liked the production. So then other people were like, hey, will you choreograph my show? And it just kind of snowballed from that. And then when I moved to LA, I just, I really spent the first few years in LA, like mainly choreographing and dancing. And I did like music videos and working on the Killers music video. Yeah, well, that was so random, honestly, but it was super fun. And then at a certain point, I remember I actually got asked to choreograph. There were these big like theater awards in LA called the Ovation Awards. Okay. It was like a very big opportunity as a choreographer to choreograph this whole award ceremony. And I turned it down because I don't know. I just somehow felt like I didn't want to be pigeonholed as a choreographer, and I didn't feel like that was the one thing I really wanted to focus on. I had other things I wanted to do. I really wanted to focus on being a performer and writer. And so I pivoted away from choreography, and I don't really choreograph as much anymore, but I choreograph, I think, just more naturally when I am asked to dance in something. And even like the process of working on Emoji Land, I got to dance in Emoji Land, and that was like a wonderful outlet for me.
I love it. I mean, as I was mentioning before, I mean, you're basically doing everything here. That's so cool. That's so bad. And the fact like so many things happen at the same time, like one thing led to another and another to another and another to another. That is so cool. Whenever you get like this kind of connection you're creating, and this network at the same time.
No, that's honestly what I love about this business, is that you never know what you say yes to something, and like that takes you down a whole other path.
Totally.
And honestly, one of the parts of my career that I'm like really focused on right now is the songwriting, and I'm doing a lot of like lyric writing. And that honestly, it happened very, very organically, finding my new songwriting partner, because I was asked to act in a short film. It was a short musical film, and basically that short film did really well. That was actually like nominated for a Student Academy Award. It was an amazing student film. Wow. And so then it got picked up to become a musical TV series, and they needed a lyricist for the show. And because I had acted in this like non-paid student film, I got the job being the lyricist. And that's how I met my new songwriting partner, and we are now writing together every day. And if I hadn't said yes to acting in that little student film, I mean, it wasn't a little student film, it was like it was actually like a very big student film, but it was no pay. If I had said no to that, I wouldn't now be working in the capacity I am. So I love how like the twists and turns, and you just never know what will lead to what.
That is amazing. Now you have guest starred on Showtime, ABC, CBS, Amazon, and Sci-Fi, and were a series regular on the YouTube Originals comedy series Sing It. You also co-created an improvised series for Funny or Die, for which you received an LA Webfest Outstanding Lead Actress. That's badass. what can you tell me about some of the shows that you perform?
Well, I feel very lucky that I've had some great opportunities as an actor in LA, and I hope that my career as an actor is, like a fine wine. Like I hope it gets better with age. I don't want to be one of those people who just acted when they were young. Betty White is definitely an inspiration to me. So
Okay.
I hope that I can be acting, well into my, old age. But I've kind of just gone where the opportunities, have been. And sometimes it comes from, you never know. Like a lot of this business is about who you know. It's just the truth of it. So, my first acting gig in LA was on the show Weeds, and I had a really fun part. It was like the series finale, a 2-part episode, and I had a really fun part. I was like the mistress of Kevin Nealon, and the reason I got that job is because I had done this like really ridiculous sci-fi horror film called Jersey Shore Shark Attack. That was actually my first gig in LA.
Okay.
So it was like it's like a ridiculous movie. So I did that part, and I played this Jersey girl, big hair, fake tan, the whole thing. And then one of my best friends from college was a writer on the show Weeds, and there was a role for a Jersey girl in the series finale of Weeds. So because I had done this little shark film, they brought me in for Weeds, which was a big show. And I got to audition for this really big part for this Jersey girl because I had this footage. And they ended up giving the part to Natasha Lyonne, who I've admired her since the 90s. But they really liked my audition, and although they gave it to like a name, they were like, there's another part for you that we think you'd be great for. So then I read for this other part on the spot. They handed me sides, and they said, hey, can you read this part instead? So I went out into the hall and came up with a character, basically came back in, and they loved it, and I got the part. So so that was like my first big network TV job. But yeah, so it's like you never, again, it's like you never know what can lead to what. So I feel really lucky.
That is amazing. That is super cool. And then you got your actor's equity card at 13 in the first national tour of Ragtime, as you mentioned before. And since then, you have been performed at renowned theaters such as Central Theater Group, Geffen Theater, and the Goodman Theater in Chicago. You also toured the country with Jason Alexander in his show, An Evening with Jason Alexander. So tell me about tell me about that whole experience, because something that gets my attention in your career specifically is the fact how one thing, as I was mentioning before, one thing connects to another one, and then to another one, and then to another one. I mean, that is something super interesting. So tell me how was the experience of all of this, basically?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, Ragtime was such a defining moment in my life. Totally. And really, doing that show was really what solidified my my love of the theater and being a part of something, being a part of a big production like that.
Totally.
So I honestly say that I'm addicted to acting. I'm addicted to the thrill of it, creating something with a group of people, like slaying a dragon together, when you have this common goal and you have this you become family, really. So I feel lucky that I've gotten to sort of be a part of all these different families throughout my life. And you never know. That's the thing too. I was thinking when you were listing the theaters that I've gotten to work at, some really amazing theaters, throughout the country. A lot of times, they were projects that started in someone's back room or whatever, being a part of a little reading.
Yeah.
You never know. I got to do the world premiere of this musical Holiday Inn, and that went to Broadway, and it all started because of a friend of mine who I did a musical with. We did Big the Musical when we were 13 in Chicago together.
Yeah.
And he now is like the head of Universal theatrical productions, and they were doing a table read of the Holiday Inn musical, and he brought me in to read a role, and everyone there like was laughing and they loved what I did. And I created this character of Daphne, and they were like, oh my, they were like, we love Daphne, and they're like, okay, great, come to New York with us, you know. So then I spent the next few years of my life doing this, you know, Broadway bound musical. And it all because of a friend I had done a musical with when I was 13 in Chicago. You know, it's really amazing when I think about all the twists and turns of it all. And then I got to do a brand new play in LA. It was about like 4 years ago. It's called The Art Couple, and it's a really unique, funny, just a great show. It's a 6-person play, and we all really bonded. And it was an amazing hit in LA, but it was like, you know, very off, like 99 seat theater, no pay really. And then the creator of or the writer of that play, who's also the star of it, he now is the creator of Ted Lasso on Apple, which is obviously a huge success. He's won Emmys now, and so now we just found out we get to do that play again at like a big theater, at the Kirk Douglas. And you never, so you just never know, like what, something that started very humble roots can all of a sudden, get to.
Yeah, that is badass plus 2. That's awesome. I love it. Now you are also a certified health coach, and you also co-host a functional medicine podcast called What the Funk. Tell me about that project.
Yeah, so my mom actually started a school called the Functional Medicine Coaching Academy, and it's an online school, and it trains people to become health coaches. And so I went through the program. I was in like the beta class, so I was one of the first people to go through the program. Yeah. So, and I've always been interested in health. I've always been kind of a health nut. So it, made sense for me to do the program. And then a couple of years ago, my mom said that she wanted this, because the school has really grown and is very successful now. And she was like, the school needs a podcast. She was like, but I'm not, I'm not going to host it. It should be someone who's funny and engaging. So anyway, so she was like, why don't, I and my like dear friend Clayton, who is he was in The Art Couple with me, that play that I just talked about. So we've become very, very, very close over the last few years. And so, she was like, you guys should host it together. Also Clayton, who I had carpooled to The Art Couple with, and we became so close, he was going through a lot of health problems at the time. And so I had just graduated from the health coaching school. And so I was like, I ended up health coaching him and ended up helping him heal a lot of the issues that he was dealing with. So that's like kind of the premise for the show, is like, I'm the health coach and he was like my first client. And, and we're like, partners in life, and we like, we have fun together. So we interview doctors, we interview like all sorts of experts in the health field, and we find it really interesting. And we also get to like try a lot of cool products. So, so yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And we now, we've done like 93 episodes at this point, which is it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah, I can understand that. That is crazy. Wow. Now, if you could describe your career at the moment, right, on a movie, TV show, book, or even a play, why not? What would be the title of it?
What would be the title of my? Okay. This is something I've thought of before, that like I love this title, Bits and Ass. Just doing bits. That's, and I got an ass, so Bits and Ass. A Laura Schein story.
Or it could be you're doing bits and kicking ass.
Oh, I like that. Oh, that's good. Yeah. I never thought of that turn. That's good.
Love it. We got a title already then.
Perfect.
That's the plan. And if you could describe also your career, but now on a drink, which one would you choose?
Okay. Well, I mentioned before, actually, like, I want to be kind of like a fine wine. So I'm going to say like a funky, natural, like pet nat orange wine that kind of, as it gets older, it gets like funkier and funkier, and
Okay.
you know, gets more interesting, more resilient.
I love it. Okay. Okay. And like my last question here, like what motivates you? You know, because we all have those days. You know, we all have those days in which we just feel terrible, in which we just don't want to do it anymore. We think it's been a waste of time. We feel exhausted out of it. We just think that maybe we should stop doing it. You know, or maybe because of a bad experience you have, it makes you kind of a second question if you should move on or not. So, what usually gets you out of all of those toxic thoughts and to continue pursuing the thing that you love the most?
It's a good question. Because yeah, it's a rocky road. It's a
Yeah.
roller coaster, and you know, there are so many days where we get kicked down, and we got to get back up again. So what makes us get back up? I mean, for me, it's really the people.
Okay.
It's always like it's the community, and it's collaboration. It's having it's sharing a moment of like creative inspiration with someone like that. So I always, if I'm feeling that way, I'll always reach out to someone. I'll always reach out to a friend, and just try to find that spark again, because the spark, it's really the spark that keeps me going. So if I somehow feel like I've lost that, then for me it's like, how do I regain that with my creative community?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's amazing, Laura. I mean, as I was mentioning before, your career has such an epic path here. You have accomplished so many cool things, and I just can't wait. I just can't wait for the future. I'm super sure that this year is the beginning of a lot of epicness coming up very soon, because I do believe that when you do things by heart, you're honest with it, good things eventually come. And the fact, and you are the living proof that actually dreams can come true, and the fact that if you continue the path you're loving and you continuing on it, then at some point you're gonna have like more and more and more awesome things in your career. So that is really cool, and I'm super sure that is inspiring also. And I just can't wait for it. I just can't wait more of it. And also I'm also super sure that a lot of people rely on you, and also they see you as an inspiration, because what you do, it is not easy, of course, but you're making it happen, and that is really cool.
Thank you so much. This has been really great. You're so kind, and yeah, this has been really awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to thank those who are watching. Thank you so much for those who are watching this right now. Also, if you're watching this later here on Instagram, perfect. Or if you're watching later on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple Music, make sure that you're following Laura on all social media. Normally, what I would say is for you to put pause. Then you're gonna go follow Laura right now. If you do, perfect. Then leave likes. Share content. I mean, spread the word. We have an amazing talented actress here in the house right now. And Laura, before I send you off, I need to send you off properly in an epic way. So.
Oh, thank you. Oh, what a crowd!
Yeah. Amazing.
We sold out.
Yeah, we sold out. So that's a wrap. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait for another episode in the future. Keep killing it. Keep having an amazing rest of the day, an amazing upcoming weekend, and nothing but amazing stuff, because you totally deserve it.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. See you in the next one, okay?
Okay, bye, Dan.
Bye.